What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mooch Life. We're heading to the store because we have a very important task to take care of for the truck today. The most important single thing you can do to take care of your vehicle is regular oil changes. And today I'm going to show you how easy it is to change your own oil in your Silverado. Let's go. I'm definitely not experienced, and I am not a mechanic by any means. But with a little bit of research and a little bit of confidence, anybody can change their engine oil, especially in a truck. If you're not a big person, you can fit underneath the truck without even jacking it up. So that's what I'm going to do today, and we'll show you how easy it is to change the engine oil on a 5.3 liter Ecotech. It's the V8 engine I have in this 18 Silverado. So let's head to Wally World where we can get our oil cheap. And when I say get our oil cheap, it's still going to be good oil. I assume people think that Walmart doesn't have any good oil, but if you go and look, they do have some full synthetics and stuff that's recommended for your vehicle, and it's usually cheaper than the auto parts store. So the oil I'm looking for today is Mobil 1 with the Dexos rating. So let's go find it here, and if they have it, we'll get it. If not, I guess we have to go to the auto parts store. We'll see you in a bit. So here's the top grade Mobil 1. It's the annual protection, but I am not on that bandwagon. I don't believe in letting oil sit in your vehicle for a year straight. So we go down one tier and we get the extended performance, 15,000 miles, and our weight is 0W20, Dexos approved, full synthetic. So that's what we want, and it is 28 bucks for 5 quarts, which I believe at AutoZone by my house it's like 40. So we're saving some money. So we got 5 quarts there. The truck calls for 8, so we gotta go get some little babies. And so we look at the handy dandy book here for 2018 Silverado 5.3 V8, and I'm gonna get the OEM original equipment. So we look for that code, and you can see it's the PF63E, and there you go, PF63E. Okay, so just like that, we made it back home. Now if we look in the owner's manual, and we see this little section here, engine oil life system, when to change engine oil. The vehicle has a computer system that indicates when to change the engine oil and filter. It's based on a combination of factors which include engine revolutions, engine temperature, and miles driven. Now that's important to me because before it used to be you would go to the dealership and change your oil and they would just say, oh, every 3,000 miles. And then it changed to, oh, the oil is better, so we're going to make it 7,000 miles or 10,000 miles. But if you use this here, which is that there, it tells you the percentage of oil remaining. Now, when it gets close to 0, it'll actually chime and tell you to change your engine oil soon. But I'm choosing, so I can rest easy at night, to change it at around 20%. I got the first 2 oil changes free because anytime you buy a brand new Chevrolet, you get complimentary oil changes for the first 24,000 miles or first year. If you go by the oil life indicator here, instead of just doing an interval like every 7,000 miles, you know, this seems to me, at least, and this is my opinion, to be more accurate, because you can't say that someone who daily drives a truck on highway use versus someone who drives in dusty, crappy conditions, who's driving, pulling heavy loads, towing a lot, that their engine oil isn't going to diminish at a different rate. You just drive it like a daily versus someone who's going to drive it hard and tow a lot, then it's not apples to apples. This is nice because it takes into account the revolutions, the temperature, and miles driven. So that's a lot more accurate, in my opinion, than just going by, oh, let's change it every 3 or 5 or 7,000 miles. So that's why we're doing that. Could I have waited till it says to change the oil? Yeah, but I want fresh, good oil in my engine. It's been about 6,000 miles since I changed the oil, and it got down to 20%. So when we change the oil, I'm gonna take a sample of it and just show you how clean or dirty it looks, and we'll see if I'm changing it at the right time or not, in my opinion. All right, so we got everything set up on our cart here that we need to change the oil in the Blue Beast. We got a 12-quart oil reservoir. We have a 15mm socket for the drain plug and a wrench for the oil filter. And we got 8 quarts of our Mobil 1 Extended Performance 0W20 Dexo certified. And that's what the truck calls for. So we got a paper towels and a rag, and we got a funnel, so we don't want to make a mess, right? So you want to be neat about it. And that's the setup. That's all you need. A couple things. So let's get under there and start cracking it open. Okay, so we're underneath the truck now, and you can see the filter sticks out like a sore thumb. It's blue. That's the OEM AC Delco filter. Right next to it there, that's the drain plug for the oil. So it's pretty hard to mess that up. Now we're going to position our oil pan next to the drain bolt. But you have to be mindful that this bolt is angled like 45 degrees. And when you first crack it open, the oil is going to shoot out like a hose. So you don't want to put it directly underneath the bolt like that, because the oil is going to come this way. So you're going to start over here on the side a little bit more, and then as it starts trickling down and gets lower, you'll have to move it slowly, and then you'll have it underneath. So let's get cracking and get some new fresh oil in this beast. Alright, so it was hard to record and do this at the same time, but just remember that's the passenger side of the vehicle. I already cracked it loose, but get your ratchet on the bolt with the handle pointing towards the passenger tire. That way you can get both hands on it and pull it this way to crack it. If you put it over here to start, you kind of got some obstacles. You don't get a lot of torque on it because of this bar right here. So yeah, point the handle of the ratchet towards the passenger side of the vehicle, get both hands on it, and give it some good torque, and she'll crack. Alright, get the oil catcher positioned where you think it should go. Just be careful because the engine oil is warm. They say to do it warm on the internet because the oil flows out better. So you can get burned if you don't be careful. I'm just hoping I have the oil in the right spot here. So I'm just gonna maybe get behind it here, because the oil is going to squirt that way. So we'll see how I do filming this. Oh, that's a fail.
Got it!
Well, I was a little bit off with my calculation there. I got some engine oil on my face and on my glasses, but that's alright. I'm going to take a sample of this so you can see. Ugh. So you can see what 20% looks like. Pretty dark and yucky looking to me. Alright. Now as it starts to get lower, the angle will decrease so you can scoot the oil catcher a little bit closer. And then just give it some time. Let her drain. We'll be back. Well, I made a little bit of a mess because I didn't position that correctly. But as you can tell, it's dripping. and you just want to let it keep dripping like that. I'd give it at least 20 minutes. I'll come back and check it. So, all right, let's grab our sample here and bring it out from underneath the truck and check it out. That's 20%. Pretty dirty looking to me. So I think it was time for a change. Messing up my vlog, mailman. So like I said, the oil had 19% left on the monitor system, but it's dirty enough to me that I feel like it was a good time to change it. Pretty dark. You know, it's whatever makes you sleep good at night, is what I say. So could I have went longer according to the truck? Yes. So I'll put this fresh oil in the truck and it's gonna make me feel good. So now it's time to prep our new oil filter, our AC Delco PF63E for the 18 Silverado. So a couple things. The filters come with these rubber gaskets on the top. You need to make sure you put some oil around there. You're supposed to fill up the filter itself with fresh oil. And then when you take the old one off, sometimes these gaskets can stick. You need to make sure that the old gasket comes off before you put the new one on. So let's fill it up with a little bit of our Mobil 1 Extended Performance 15,000 mile Dexos. Pour a little bit in there. Just almost to the top, I think is good. I'm doing this kind of sloppily because I'm trying to record. And then get some oil and get it all over that gasket. Alright, now let's go take the old one off and install this puppy. Alright, let's get the oil filter underneath the truck and get the old one off. I'm just gonna set it right there. There we go. These come in different sizes, so make sure if you buy one it fits your filter. There you go. Get your cap wrench on the filter and just give it a nice twist. Ugh. With one hand it's difficult. Ugh. She's coming though. Ooh. Oh, the wrench is slipping. Oh, let's try that again. Man, it's hard with one hand, I'll tell you. But I'm trying to do it so you can see the process. Come on, baby. Oh, turn. Six hours later. Alright. Let's see if we can get it by hand the rest of the way. I'm going to slide the oil pan back over a little bit. Nope, we're still not ready for by hand, not with one hand at least. Alright, now you can see the oil really starting to drip out. Remember, it's hot. So just be careful. Ooh, it's hot. And just once you can get it by hand, just unscrew it all the way. And there it is. Old filter is out. You can see it dripping through its little plug there. And then this is this area right here. You need to make sure that that gasket didn't stay on there, which you can tell by the old filter here. Well, I'll show you when we get out of the truck. This is a lot messier than I thought it was gonna be when you're trying to record it. So here's our old filter, and as you can tell, the gasket is still on it, so that's awesome. That's very important. The old gasket sticks to the truck and then you put the other one on it, it might not seal properly. It's gonna mess it up. Well, there's our mess. Some of the oil didn't make it into the reservoir, but that's all right. We're learning. This changing oil and filming at the same time business is a little bit tricky. Okay, so now that the oil filter's off and the oil's drained, as you can tell, if you can see, it's still dripping a teeny bit. So we'll just let it drip. But in the meantime, there's always some areas where you got some oil. Now's a good time to clean that up. So just get an old rag and get all these spots where you see oil dripping. Around where you're putting your new oil filter back in, just make sure your rag doesn't have a bunch of contaminants or dirt or debris on it, which I already did that. Clean everything up good. Now we're gonna take our new filter, just carefully screw it on. Just tighten it. Just tighten it hand tight as you can by hand. I'm gonna get the rag on there, clean some of the oil off it because I can't lose my grip. You can use the towel to help you tighten it. Clean off the oil at the bottom, and then just tighten that puppy as tight as you can by hand. And that's what it calls for. It's supposed to be hand tight, I guess. So let's give it one more twisty McTwister here. Alright, that's as tight as it's gonna get there. And then I'm gonna put the wrench back on it, and just for giggles and make sure it's on good, I'm just gonna give it one more little half a turn, pass hand snug, and then I'm good with that. Well, obviously, if you're a rookie like me and you're doing this stuff, once you're done and you drive the truck around or you start the truck for the first time, you want to make sure there's no leaks. So just wouldn't be a bad idea to get under here and look, make sure you don't have oil leaking out around the oil filter. Now that we're just watching this drip, I'm going to let it drip a little bit longer. So now's a good time to take a little bit of a break, go in the house, eat some Cocoa Puffs, cuddle with your wife, you know, have a good time, come back in 20 minutes, see how it's looking. Nah, back to the truck. Hello, green machine. Alright, let's finish her up. So we got the oil filter on. Now we're going to put the drain plug back in. So you just make sure it's not cross-threading and it spins on there real easy. Get that hand tight. And get your 15 millimeter back on. And make her nice and tight. And that's it. So we are closed up underneath. We got the filter on tight, the drain plug on tight. Now it's time to go up top. So now that we're under the hood, we need to fill up the oil. Most important step. Don't ever drain the oil and forget to put the new stuff in. That'd be bad. So on the driver's side of the engine, you will see your oil fill cap right there. SAE 0W20 Dexos. So you want to unscrew that lid there and put a funnel in it. We removed the fill cap. Let's crack open our Mobile 1. Put her in. This calls for 8 quarts. So I'm going to pour in this 5, 6, 7, and then I'm going to check the dipstick and add the last quart slowly, just to make sure we don't overfill. Fresh Mobile 1 goodness in there. Here's an important part here. We're going to start pouring her in. I got my funnel in there. It's actually not an ideal funnel. It's kind of loose and short and stubby, but so I'm just going to hold the funnel with my right hand and pour with my left. You just want to be extra careful. Try not to drip any. Look at that golden goodness. Full synthetic, yummy. Nice little blood transfusion for the beast. Woo! Well, that's not the ideal funnel for this, but I didn't spill a drop, so that's good. Well, let's get the baby in there. Little baby bottle, 1 quart. Quart number 6 going in. Oh, it's like syrup. I just want to put this all over my pancakes. Maybe I should put some butter in the engine too. Quart number 7. The 0W20 Dexos is the approved oil for the 5.3 liter Ecotech engine that's put in the 14 through 18 Silverado. It's also in the Sierra and probably the Tahoe and the Escalade. Any of the 5.3 liter engines, I know for sure that it would be the same engine, so it's going to be the same oil, right? So that's the weight and the Dexos approved, you know, full synthetic. The Mobil 1 makes the annual protection. That's like their top tier oil, so it's guaranteed to protect the engine for up to a year. I'm just not on that bandwagon. I'm not gonna not change my oil more than once a year. So this is like their next tier down, which is the extended performance for 15,000 miles. I probably won't. I'm not gonna get to 15,000 miles either, but it's a little bit cheaper and it makes me feel good. So this is the one I picked because it's the one I like. If you use anything that's Dexos approved and the right weight and you change your oil regularly, it's probably not going to make a difference. So it's kind of like what you like, you know. So this is the brand that I like. This is the brand that I find a lot when I research, you know, what's the best oil to put in your truck. So that's why I went with Mobil 1. So let's check the dipstick now and see what it's reading, and then we'll add the rest of the oil. So here's your oil fill cap, and then right behind it, towards the firewall on the driver's side, this is your oil dipstick. So we're going to pull that out. Clean it off once. Stick it back in the hole there, all the way down, and then pull it all the way back out. And then we're going to read it. It's probably hard to see on the camera, but there's a cross-hatched area, and then there's 2 little divots. And the lower divot is your low line, and the high divot is the fill line. So from everything I'm reading online, you don't want to go to the top of the crosshatch. You want to go to the dimple, the top dimple. And we are just below it. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the oil. Alright, here goes the last of the creamy goodness. It's about a half a quart left. So we're going to give it all 8. And there you go. A fresh oil change from Mobil 1 Extended Performance. Alright, so you're just going to put your oil fill cap back on. Make sure it's snug to the right. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And that's it. So we just changed 8 quarts of oil in our 18 Silverado. We're going to go inside now and reset the oil life meter. We're going to go ahead and start her up. I know the hood is open, thank you. Alright, so the oil life meter needs to be reset manually. It doesn't detect or know that you changed the oil. So you go into your options here, you got info, audio, phone, navigation options. Okay, you want to go to info by using your little keypad here. So down, up. So click check mark your info, And then you get all these different parameters that you can look at. So what you'll do is, which it was already on it, but I'm just showing you, you're gonna go to your oil life, and it still says 19% remaining. Obviously it's 100% now because we have brand new fresh oil in there. So what we're gonna do is hit right, and then the option comes up for reset, and you just hit the check mark, and it asks you, are you sure that you want to reset? Toggle right and hit the check mark, and boom, 100%. Now we're back to a fresh oil change. Maybe you want to note your mileage down so you know when you get back down to your 20%, or whenever you feel like it's necessary to change your oil, you'll know how many miles you drove in between. And like I said, the oil life monitor system is a nice feature because it doesn't go just by miles driven. It goes by miles driven, temperature that you're driving, and how hard the engine's working. So, you know, it's a little more accurate in my eyes. That's why I like to follow it. Now, again, 20% is where I like to change it. And you saw the oil that I took out, the old oil, and it was dirty, you know. Doesn't mean it wasn't working still. I mean, the oil gets dirty. That's what happens. It's just a chemical reaction that happens with the oil. So I'm sure it was still doing its job properly, but for peace of mind, it makes me feel better. 20% is just a number that, you know, when I bought the truck, my salesman told me, you know, it's a good idea to change the oil at 20%. I don't know where he got that figure, but, you know, it seems good to me. So I bought this truck the very last day of May of 18. It's now March of 19, the beginning of March. So it's been 9 months since I bought the vehicle, and I put 19,093 miles on the vehicle. This is my third oil change. I got the first two for free at the dealership. Now this is the first one I've done on my own. So if I'm going 19,000 miles on my third oil change, you know, that's you know, like 6,200 miles per oil change. So that's a fair number. I mean, you know, most people will say like around 7,000 to 9,000, somewhere in there, for the new oil and the new engines, where it used to be back in the day every 3,000 miles was the rule of thumb. So, you know, the old school people were like a little weary of that because, you know, you think that driving more than 3,000 miles is like, oh my God. But you know what? It's the new oil is better than it's ever been, and these engines are more efficient than they've ever been. So, you know, it doesn't seem unreasonable to go ahead and do a longer period of time between your oil changes. But for me, this is about a 6,200 mile average between oil changes, and that's mostly highway driving, a little bit of towing, barely here and there, a little bit of payload every once in a while, but mostly it's mostly as a daily driver for me. So, you know, there it is. That's how you change the oil in the 2018 Silverado 5.3 liter Ecotech engine. And like I said, you pick the oil you like, as long as it's Dexos approved. That's the big thing. That's what they want in this engine. So, you know, that's what we did. I picked the mobile one, extended performance, 15,000 mile protection. So it's kind of like the second tier to the annual protection one. But like I said, I'm not going to commit to an oil that I don't feel like I'm supposed to change for a full year. I just don't want the same oil sitting in my engine for a full year. But that's just me. You know, let me know what you think in the comments. If you happen to like this video or find it useful, let me know how often you change your oil and what your favorite oil is in the comments. If you do like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to make some more content and keep having fun with some Chevrolet shenanigans. So thanks for watching the Mooch Life, and have a great day.